All right, let's see what's happening. Right, I got this sort of new setup over here. Oh, now my face is invisible. Move this away a little bit. Let me see. Ah, this is quite good. A little bit more like this. All the pads have to be in there, right? Yeah, okay. Guess this is good for a live stream. Everything is visible. That's cool. Let me say something in the chat. Hello, everybody. That seems to be working. Sound seems to be working. So that's pretty awesome. Um, well, hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Quest for Groove live stream. Very, very nice that you all are here. Oleg, Robin is here. Very nice. I think it's just the three of us right now. I can see three people. Yeah, so that must be Oleg and Robin. Um, welcome. I did one this morning, a live stream. Nobody was there, so I quit or I ended the live stream. That was that was also because it was at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I'm glad some people showed up. Um, yeah, let's talk about a few things. Obviously, the main goal of this thing is that you guys can ask questions and I can answer them. So that's definitely something I'm going to do. And if you think of any questions you might have, feel free to type them in the chat. I'll definitely be able to get to them because it's just a few people here. I also promised to talk a little bit about David Fingers Haynes, the famous finger drummer who has some really, really cool finger drumming, very virtuoso stuff up on the internet. And I promised to talk a little bit about that and share my thoughts on how he does what he does and how to become just as good as him, I guess, just as good as David Fingers Haynes. Hey, Alexander, welcome to the live stream as well. I was just saying that people can type their questions in the chat, and I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about David Fingers Haynes, and yeah, I guess that's more or less it. Talk about that, maybe play a little bit of music, try and answer all your questions, and yeah, then move on towards the holidays. Um, so yeah, feel free to type anything over there. I'll get to that soon. Let me first just give a small introduction into David Fingers Haynes. I'll just quickly look some stuff up, some nice links. But David Fingers Haynes is basically the first really good finger drummer ever, or something. That's what I think, at least. There's some stuff online from him where he plays the machine, like it's like 10 years ago or something, 10 years old, and the stuff that he plays is very, very virtuoso. I put a little link in chat. Very virtuoso. It's very well played, and it's basically uh stuff that when I saw it for the first time, it basically showed me like, whoa, you can actually play real drums on a pad controller. It's actually possible. But the one question that remained after seeing all that was, of course, how do you do this? Because he seems to be the only one who is at his level. I think he still is sort of the only person who's on his level. Um, but David Haynes definitely inspired me to get into finger drumming and to try this for myself. Um, and I got asked to talk a little bit about him, and there's a few things I can say. First of all, check out the videos, check out his channel if you haven't before, because it's very inspiring to see somebody play that well. And then there's a few things I would like to answer. First of all, is what does he do that makes him so good? Second of all, is what is it achievable for us, right, or the other people, and how do you get there? So I think what David Haynes does, first of all, is that he's a real drummer. So he can play real drums with his hands and his feet. And the main skill that helps him be the best finger drummer out there is that he has great control over his two hands. He basically has basically practiced all the normal drummer chops, all the things that drummers do to improve their hand game, and he applied it to his fingers. And what that basically it just oversimplified version is that he plays a lot of rudiments, right? So he can play a right, left, also play left, right, and fast. But he can also play stuff like double strokes, like stuff like that, or one double stroke, one single stroke, right, left, stuff like that, or paradiddle, right, left, left, right, no, right, left, right, fuck, right, left. That's a 6-stroke roll, right, left, right, left, right, and the other one is that's a paradiddle, right, left, left. So those are some examples of rudiments and David figures, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more also combinations like a 6-stroke roll with a paradiddle, with a double stroke, with single strokes, and because he can do all of that, and because he can divide that up over the pads really fast and very virtuoso and very with a lot of control over his dynamics, all those combinations basically make him such a great drummer. And I think he's so good at it that he can basically um, yeah, he can just divide everything up over the pads the way he wants it. I think he also hears what he wants to play, and he knows what pad he has to hit to get that sound in. Um, and yeah, so I think that's his secret. And the reason that I built the Quest for Groove the way I think is good is that I start out with a method where you can basically just alternate your hands, right? Why? Because it's way easier than this. But if at some point you would like to play like David Haynes, you would have to practice the second method as well. But the problem with that is that it takes you multiple years to get those rudiments in and to get all those that hand independence and all that control. It's just something that's so hard to learn, and it takes so much time before you can actually play a great beat that I don't think it's the best way to get started. It's basically like seeing Mr. Olympia lift some weights or some. Mr. Olympia is not the strongest man on earth. That's a bodybuilder, but you know what I mean. Like you see a very strong dude who's a professional bodybuilder or a professional strongman. You see him lift stuff, and then I teach you like, okay, if you want to do that, let's just start by pulling that truck, or so, or let's start by lifting that big truck tire up. I don't think that's the way to go. The way to go is probably just go to the gym, do some normal machines first, just to get your muscles used to being able to do something like this before you even start doing the serious weightlifting. So that's sort of how I built the Quest for Groove. If you look at my advanced techniques course, you can definitely find the first steps into David Haynes type of playing. Yeah, and make no mistake, David Haynes has been at this thing for 20 years. So some of you might be just 20 years old right now. So make no mistake, this is not something you can do after 1 year of practice, not after 2. No, maybe it's probably like a decade, to be honest. Like what he does, his skill level is very, very high, but it's great and it's very inspiring. Okay, so that's what I have to say about David Haynes for now. Feel free to send me questions, or if you checked out his videos and you have more stuff to ask, more specific things, or anything I can probably explain that. Robin says he's not sure that he has 20 years left. No, and well, just to I'm just going to take you seriously for now. I know it's a joke, but I'm going to take you seriously. I'm going to say, look, the goal is not to become the next David Haynes, right? I think I'm actually a living example of that, because um, I just started doing my own thing. I was just inspired by what he had to say, and it basically gave me an assurance that a lot could be done on this instrument. But I just basically figured out how to play this thing myself, my own way. and now I'm sharing it with people, and my method, it works. It's helping people, and in a way, I think that uh, David Haynes also gives private lessons, but it might be that at this point in time, if you look at my followers and stuff, like I'm actually helping more people at the same time right now to get good at finger drumming than David Haynes is doing, which is not a positive or a negative thing or something. Not to say like I'm better or he's better or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say basically that my method works as well, just like David Haynes' method works because he's inspiring people his way. I'm doing it my way, and I want you guys to sort of take what you can get from my lessons if you like it, and then at some point you're probably going to find your own little path, right? So in 20 years you're probably not going to be here. You're not going to be doing Quest for Groove lessons. Oh, maybe who knows, maybe somebody took over the business for me or something, but you're probably going to go your own way at some point. And 20 years from now or 10 years from now, yeah, just see where the music takes you. That's what I think. Okay, exactly. Robin says, I'm enjoying the journey. I think that's just as important as the destination. Exactly. And keep in mind that your thing is your thing. And it's not my thing. It's not David Haynes' thing, because everything leads to its own sort of, or if it even leads somewhere, maybe it's just a journey. Everything leads to its own thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Just like my journey to finger drumming leads me somewhere else, as where David Haynes' journey is leading him. Um, Alexandra says, I finished the course, Funky President, and I played that on that one on Amy Winehouse. You know I'm no good. Yeah, it's excellent. Thank you, Alexandra. That's nice. Yeah, that's the breakbeat course that I put out there. I'm glad that people are doing the lessons there. On YouTube, it was not a success. I put it out on YouTube, but I think YouTube is not the right platform for serious, in-depth lessons. Somehow it's too distracting. I think the website works better with the diagrams right there. So that's why I sort of took it off of YouTube and put it in the premium courses. But it looks like it's working a lot better now that I put it there. Uh, so that's great. So, okay, does anybody have any news or anything to say or any questions about their journey? Oleg asks, did you try to play real drums? Do you think finger drumming can help to play real drums? Honestly, uh, finger drumming will help you with your inner clock and your timing, which can be applied to any other instrument. So if you do finger drumming and you do it well and you work on your inner clock and you work on your timing, if you pick up a guitar, those concepts, your brain will sort of apply those concepts automatically to you playing the guitar or bass or flute, whatever. So in that sense, I think finger drumming will help you to play drums because you have a better sense of time. But it's not really going to help you play drums in another sense, because even if you practice your paradiddles or your single strokes, when you're holding sticks, uh, your hands are a little bit in a different shape, and I think playing the sticks just takes a different hand motion. Um, Not to mention that sticks can bounce off of the, the canvas of the drum, so they can bounce. Your fingers cannot really bounce off of your hands because they're not loose. So there's all this stuff that makes drumming, the four limbs, two legs, all that stuff makes drumming on a real kit pretty much very different from doing finger drumming. So I would never say, if you want to go to do drums, start with finger drumming and then upgrade to drums. That's not necessarily the way. If you want to be able to make music in your home studio, or you don't have room for a drum kit, but you just want to make music, you want to become a better musician, develop your timing, develop your musicality, then finger drumming is a great way to get into music in general. And you can always pick up the drums later, but don't expect too much specific drum results. You're just going to become a better musician. Okay. Other questions? Like, for example, if you have a six stroke roll, I do this in the advanced techniques course. That's the stuff that I think see David Fingers Haynes do a lot. So you have this stuff right, left, left, right, left, right. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. But if you, for example, would divide that over different sounds, so same thing, right, left, left, right, left, right. And then all of a sudden, you get these virtuoso sounding things, right? Like, what's going on? What did he just do? That was insane. And I think David Fingers Haynes has a lot of those chops, like a huge library of those types of chops, like patterns, not just alternating, but all kinds of patterns and a lot of hand independence. And then he knows how to divide those patterns up over different pads to make everything sound like crazy and virtuoso. Um, Robin started the Bossa Nova course, which I just released. Yay. And he's enjoying it so far. Yeah, I'm planning on recording more lessons in the Bossa Nova course, like tomorrow or Tuesday, actually, the next batch of lessons. I really enjoyed recording it here in this new studio because I have some lighting set up right now. You might not notice that right now, and the lighting is not great on the live stream, but some new lighting that makes everything very controlled. I set everything up in a way that the cameras are set. They're always, I'm filming from one of my new camera stands that's floating over the desk. That works really great. So yeah, I think I'm going to be able to produce a lot more quality content without it costing so much time for me to do so. So yeah, this I'm only getting started now. It's a great upgrade, new studio. Can recommend that to everybody. Uh, yeah. So let me see. Do I have anything to say? Anything interesting? No, I'm just yeah, I'm just working on that Bossa Nova course. I'm happy with how that turned out. Let me see. Oleg says, can you tell how do you approach finding a drum track for a song? Do you start from kicks and then move to other elements? Do you write it down somehow? Yeah, that's a very interesting. That's an interesting topic because finding the right drum track for a song, yeah, it's composition, right? In a way, it's composing music, and uh, that's an interesting a process because it's not. I wish I had like a straightforward method, like you start with just a kick or you start with just a snare, but it's a very, for what I found at least from doing drum tracks for producing songs with people, it's some sort of a journey, and it's a combination of the drum part, but also the way the drums sound and how they're mixed. Because if you have a very rock forward sounding, harsh sounding, compressed drum sound, the same part might sound totally different when you're playing that harsh compressed rock sound versus some sort of warm, dry indie drum kit or played with brushes or something. So, and then the pads will be the same, the rhythm will be the same, but the effect will be completely different. I noticed that a lot actually when working with clients. I play a drum track and they wouldn't like it, and I would not change the drum part, but I would just switch the addictive drums kit or something, or I would turn it down and make it softer, and then all of a sudden the drum part would work. So um, coming up with a drum part um, has a lot of different facets. So sorry, this is a bit of a long answer, but that said, one way to start is to is there's a two-part system that you can use in order to get some sort of a starting point. First one is to focus on the kick drum actually, and then see if you can double it with the bass guitar. So if there's a bass guitar pattern, the bass is playing something, dun, doo, doo, dun, dun, you can call it boom, 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 boom. So you sort of double the bass part with the kick. That always works. And then the alternative, the shadow version of that, which can also work, is actually you go and see if you can um, play around the bass part. So boom, boom, boom. I cannot sing and play that at the same time, but like you actually try and play before and after the bass parts and not at the same time, so that the bass can do his own thing and the drums can do their own thing, and they're complementary. That's another way to build a drum part, and those are two complete opposites, actually. But they're sort of, so there's not one way is not better than the other. It's more like that's a place where you can start and see if that works. Then another one would be if you're not if you focus on the hi-hats and see if there's some sort of is there a feel of the song, and uh, again, are you the person, is the drummer the person responsible for that feel? So you can make a very busy hi-hat pattern, right? And now I'm really defining like it's almost like a shaker, right? So I'm defining this is the underlying grid of the song. But if you have a guitar that goes like you can say, okay, so the guitar is doing that with the guitar. So maybe I should actually back off and play some, don't try and play that exact pattern, but play some more quiet, like ding tick 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 ding tick 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 ding tick 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 tick. I'm not, this is not a great example, but like you're actually playing less so that there's room for the other instruments, because there is already some sort of a busy thing going on in the high end, so you don't, sometimes you don't have to do that with a hi-hat. I actually heard a lot of cool productions lately, modern productions that actually do not have hi-hats, so they're just kicks and snares. And then all that other stuff, that more hi-hatty stuff, is done by other instruments. Doesn't always work, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do. So yeah, I should obviously make a course about this where we can build a song together or something step by step. It's definitely on my list, but this is sort of the thought process. Think about sound, how loud, how soft. Think about making a complementary part or doubling the bass part with your kicks or your snares, or actually trying to dance around the bass part with your kicks and your snares, and then seeing, am I gonna um, be very dominant with my hi-hats or my ride, or am I actually going to back off and let other instruments in the high end do the talking, and I'm going to play a more quiet, laid back groove? Those are some of the core decisions to make as a drummer, I think. Okay. Any other questions? Has anybody done Black Friday deals, by the way? As I sent an email out to the about the Black Friday stuff. I think Excellent Audio is doing a pretty good job this year. I must say, one thing that I didn't share because I didn't have time and it was sort of exclusive is that I'm on the Excellent Audio email list. And 2 weeks or a week ago, a week before Black Friday, they sent me a coupon code, and they said if you use this coupon, you're actually going to get 50% off instead of 40 before Black Friday. So they sent that to me in the email, and it was only a code that I could only use once, so I couldn't share it because that would be unfair. But the stupid thing is I didn't use it, so I could have given it to somebody. I realize now, but so it definitely pays off to actually subscribe to if you're into addictive drums, or maybe Toontrack from the Superior Drummer, like some of those companies that have the good software. It's annoying because they'll also send you commercial emails, but they will also send you coupons sometimes. So sometimes it's worth subscribing to their stuff. Robin bought some kits. That's good. And Alexander says, is it good to work with a metronome? Without it, I always accelerate. Yes, it's definitely good, Alexander, to work with a metronome. And you have to take that in the broad sense of the word. I'm going to talk about this more and more in my courses. I talk a little bit about it in Grooving and Improving course. I definitely talk about it in the bossa nova course, where I create these backing tracks that have a pattern, and then it switches to a metronome, and then it switches to a pattern again. But not only do I have this metronome in there, I actually have the metronome in different places in the bar. I also talk about that in the timing course. So if you have a metronome that says like tick, 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 right? You can play drums to the metronome, but you can also have the metronome on the afterbeat. Tick, 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 tick. I cannot do that at the same time. Tick, tick, tick. Ah. Tick. Anyway, what I mean is this: tick, 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 tick. Right. So it's on the afterbeat as if it's a reggae groove, and then there's other places, 16th notes where you can place the metronome. And what you should do in the long term is actually practice your beats not just to a metronome on the one, but also to a metronome on the afterbeat, and then to a metronome maybe even on the first 16th note after the one and the last 16th note before the one. That there's all these different placements of metronome hits. There's a very I talk about this in the Time and Time Again course, by the way, that you can access step by step, and it's a very good way to practice. So if you notice that you speed up when playing along to a metronome, it's definitely worth turning on the metronome and seeing if you can stop speeding up. Again, I talk about this in different spots throughout the courses, but just to give you a quick summary, it probably doesn't help to just turn on a metronome and start playing along to it and not bothering about other stuff. For example, counting out loud while playing already helps you in not speeding up, even if you wouldn't use a metronome. Because if, for example, you pretend real quick that you're a rocket, you work for NASA, and a rocket has to be launched, and you have to count from 10 to 0, you can probably do it more or less. You're not going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? You're not going to do that. You know, sort of like, okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You have a natural feeling for seconds or for certain amounts of time, and you can be more or less consistent. You're not going to speed up that fast, or it will feel weird to speed up counting from 10 to 0. You can feel it. So if you count out loud while playing a beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I have a little bit of static in my speakers, but I don't know if I can fix that right now. I hope the example was clear. I was playing a beat, and then I was playing a fill, and I kept counting out loud, which is really hard in the beginning. But what it helps you with is sort of, because you're counting out loud, you're basically doing the NASA thing, right? You're counting down, and you're immediately going to notice if you speed up. Whereas if you don't do that, it's way easier to sort of not notice. Now I'm speeding up like a maniac. Again, it's weird, but it doesn't feel that weird. But if you count out now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you sort of learn how to fill in those gaps between your counting, and you can sort of link that together, that will already help you in not speeding up too much. So that's another trick, and that combined with a metronome would work wonders. But check out the Time and Time Again course. That's definitely a good thing. Alexandra says, I sold my Launchpad Pro and Arturia Beatstep Pro to buy a Machine Mark III. No regrets. Well, that's good news. I think, definitely. I think that's definitely, just to be clear, the Launchpad Pro is not the Launchpad X. The Launchpad Pro is the old premium launch pad, and it wasn't as good as the X. For sure not. It was definitely not as good as the Machine Mark III. So I think that's a good trade off if you switch those two controllers. Yeah, for Machine Mark III, pretty damn good. Yeah, that's nice. Nice to hear. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Um, I'm just working on recording the bossa nova course and sort of getting my stuff set up. I'm planning on maybe asking a friend of mine to help me with video editing so that I can produce some more content because I don't have to do everything myself then, which would really be nice. Because now I actually breached the barrier of 100 patrons. So I have 100 patrons now. And well, you can do the math, right? I have 100 patrons. They pay $10 a month. I obviously have to pay money to Patreon, and then there's the dollars go to euros, but that's around like 780 euros a month that I'm making here on Patreon, so which is definitely not nothing. Very grateful for that. And but instead of like just spending the money on coffee or something, I figured like I'm gonna invest this. Basically, all the money goes back into the website and in creating more content. And I figured maybe it's a good idea to just uh, ask a guy that I know, if I give you 500 bucks a month, what can you do for me, right? Or 600 bucks, what can you do? Maybe you can help me out, and then I'm twice as fast in releasing new stuff. So yeah, that's sort of what's going on here at the Quest for Groove front. I'm also planning on some new on a new morning routine where I can start playing my instrument again, learning how to play it because this was one of the things that I wanted to do over the past year that I never really got around to doing because, well, because I think mainly because I moved and I got a new job, and then all of a sudden all those great things went down the drain. But I want to pick that up again and definitely go into 2020 with some new musical inspiration. So yeah, that's sort of what's going on here. That's what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, and in December I'm going to check out the Zen Drum that I talked about earlier in Atlanta. I'm going to check out this great pad controller called Zen Drum, which costs $1,000, and it has this thing called Stomp Box. That's probably a standalone module for the Zen Drum. So that would be a $1,500 device that you can take with you and then play without a laptop or anything. It's just a standalone unit for drums, and I'm very curious what that's going to be, and I'm going to obviously make a lot of videos about that. So but that's all. I have nothing left to say. That's my those are my plans for this month. Finish the bossa nova course and those things. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, put them down. I'll wait for a few seconds, and then um, oh, here, Robin says, I've started to try and learn whole songs finger drumming, as well as practicing grooves and finding that fun. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of fun. It's something that that really helped me in sort of developing my own style. Just listening to songs that I liked and then thinking, okay, how could I sort of play this, right? You can sometimes slow songs down on YouTube. You slow them down. You can listen to a few bars of drums. You can hear the kick drum. You can hear the snare. You can hear the hi-hats, and you just go do it, right? And then you pay close attention and you hear, oh, something different is happening, and then you loop that for a moment and you think like, huh, what's that? Oh, it's a tom or something. And then sometimes you get it 100%, sometimes you get it 50%, but that whole process of sort of just trying to go through stuff step by step and playing everything is very educational. I did that with Stuart Copeland for the Police. That was the first video that I ever posted on the Quest for Groove channel, I think. The I Can't Stand Losing You drum cover. That was such a good like just by playing that song, I got like 3 times better because just figuring it out and just doing it. That's really when I hit the next level, basically, when I figured out how to play that thing. Real great drummer, by the way, Stuart Copeland. Very recommendable drummer to listen to. All right, any more? I'll just give you some time and keep my mouth shut. Play some play some drums, I guess. One, two, three, four. One, two, four. One, two. Yeah, definitely bossa nova. That's all in the bossa nova course, something like that. A lot of fun. And then Robin says, playing different dynamics on different hands at the same time is a real challenge. And how long did it take you to get a point where you could just jam like that? Um, uh, I think, um, I think I started to be able to do that when in the months before I launched the Quest for Groove. I think the Quest for Groove in January, it's going to be 2 years old. So let me see. And I've been doing so. I think I was messing around on a pad controller for 3 years at that point. When I could sort of when it started to sort of feel natural, where I could just sort of grab a thing and just do something, and it would sort of sound like something. Honestly, if I would play this with a metronome, it wouldn't be. It's not like I'm a drummer who can just lay down any track, or like off the bat, and I don't have to prepare. I have basically, if I play a song, I always prepare, including fills and everything. I sort of have a few ideas in my head and I know how to execute them. But a little bit of jamming, yeah, that's a little bit of jamming that doesn't sound completely crap. That took me, I think, 3 years. But to be honest, it wasn't 3 years of practicing and doing uh, courses every day and being diligent. It was basically year one was just me owning a pad controller, messing around a little bit. Then year two was me thinking, hey, maybe I could get good at this, and then figuring some stuff out, maybe listening to some Stuart Copeland. And then year three was basically me thinking, oh, I should share this on YouTube. But if I want to share this on YouTube, I have to get good. And then I started to practice. So maybe it's 3 years, but it's not 3 years of of continuous diligent practice. I think you could probably get there in 1 year, 1 to 2 years, if you just basically take the shortcut and uh, follow some lessons that I prepared for you. Yeah. All right. any other any other stuff, folks? Let me know. This is your chance. And otherwise, I'm going to slowly wrap things up and go to sleep. Actually, um, oh, yeah. One more thing I can show you guys. Then I'm gonna answer Oleg's question as well. Did you try to play live with a looper or something like Ableton Live? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Uh, yeah, I'm not that much into looping in that sense because well, I do loop and jam, but that's just, I make a recording in my DIW and then you can set it to loop and then you play something else and then you play something else. Um, uh, I actually did, let me see, there's this video on the Quest for Groove channel that I actually used that thing as the intro for a lot of videos, like Quest for Groove. That thing, that was basically a loop jam where I just started playing and I thought it sounded good. I had like 4 bars or 8 bars. I looped it, grabbed my guitar, played over it, played some bass, and then sang some stuff. And then that's how I came up with with that video about me jamming. So I do it sometimes, and it's a lot of fun. And I wish I had some more time to mess around in my studio, because I have this great home studio now. But right now, my main focus is actually to just get everything done that needs to be done. So I have a few assignments. I did some stuff for television, some songs, and some small productions. Then I have this job in television now where I work uh, now pretty much full time, but it's going to be part time in 2020. But right now I'm taking over for somebody. I'm filling in, so I'm doing that. It's just a video production type of stuff. And then I'm also trying to come up with content for the Quest for Groove. So those nice evenings where you just play a beat and you just jam, those are actually not really in the picture for me right now. When that's actually the most fun thing, right? About learning how to play and knowing how to play is just jam. So yeah, I hope those times will come back soon. I think 2020 is going to be a good year for that, but 2019 definitely wasn't. I haven't jammed. I only been very productive. Like, yeah. Oh yeah. So something I wanted to show you guys, which is fun. Let me see. Is actually drum rolls on the Launchpad X. I'm going to do a video about this, but wait, but let me just show you. Like, this is pretty crazy. Like, you can do this thing where you move down. Let me just get the right setting first, because otherwise you get this crazy. It's a fun thing. So this is a little preview. I hope you can hear that. Like a drum roll, right? So I haven't really worked this out completely, but it's sort of fun. Because of those small pads, you can sort of do this weird cat-like crawl. Anyways, like I'm working on this, but this is sort of also something that I'm exploring. It's the first time that I could actually do a sort of realistic sounding drum roll on a pad controller because of the 64 pads. So hey, that's a new development. That's completely cutting edge. Like you're the first people in finger drumming land who see, who probably got to witness this technique. So yeah, that's a fun thing to show. Could use this for trap hi-hats, actually, probably. So does anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm sort of gonna wrap this one up and call it a day. So let's just do a little countdown. Oh well, let's just count. So counting down. Let me see. Oh yeah, this was fun. Robin says nothing more. Have a good Christmas. Yeah, you too. Yeah, all you have a great Merry Christmas. I'm gonna have a lot of good times in Atlanta, and yeah, I wanted to record you a Christmas song, but again, as I said, don't have time. Actually, I wrote a great one, but I might record it next year. I have a good idea for a Christmas song, but yeah. So I guess that's it then. Hey, everybody, have a great night. So nice that you hung out here with me. I'm back next month, hopefully with more news, and you hopefully with questions or anything you might want to ask me. Maybe you're still hungover from your New Year's party. In that case, you can obviously feel free to skip the next stream and show up in February. But yeah, that's it. Merry Christmas and on towards a great musical, groovy 2020. So signing off. Good night. Bye bye.